What if the voice that made you famous was never yours to begin with, and the silence required to keep your secret is slowly erasing the person behind the byline? In The Ghostwriter, Torre delivers a psychological thriller that transforms literary ambition into a haunting exploration of identity theft, creative ownership, and the terrifying cost of living inside someone else's narrative. This isn't merely another publishing industry mystery with rivals. It's a claustrophobic, emotionally precise descent into the erasure of self, where every bestseller list feels like an obituary for the woman who actually wrote the words. From the first ink-stained narration, listeners are immersed in a world where credit is currency and authenticity is the ultimate liability, making every moment of recognition feels like both triumph and betrayal. Perfect for fans of dark academia suspense and stories where art becomes weaponized against its creator, this audiobook serves up relentless tension, unflinching emotional honesty, and a protagonist whose journey from invisible scribe to sovereign author resonates with anyone who's ever been told their voice only matters when attached to someone else's name. When ghostwriter Alara Vance agrees to pen the memoir of reclusive literary icon Julian Thorne, she expects professional anonymity, not to discover his manuscript contains fragments of her own unpublished work, repackaged as his genius. But as Alara navigates gilded book launches and NDAs thicker in prison walls, she realizes this assignment isn't about collaboration, it's about consumption. Torre masterfully avoids reducing Alara to victim or Julian to cartoonish villain. Instead, she crafts a narrative where plagiarism is systemic rather than personal, where consent is negotiated through power imbalance, and where liberation requires reclaiming not just words, but the right to exist as a creator outside of male validation. The audiobook narration amplifies this psychological vertigo, capturing Alara's disciplined invisibility fracturing into fierce articulation, while Julian's polished charm reveals hollowness beneath curated persona. You don't just hear the deception unfold, you feel the seismic shift of a woman learning that her voice was never lost, only stolen. What elevates The Ghostwriter beyond typical publishing thrillers is its nuanced portrayal of creative labor as gendered exploitation rather than individual failing. Alara isn't merely exposing fraud, she's confronting how the literary industrial complex commodifies women's intellect while celebrating men's personas, challenging the notion that talent requires permission. Her relationships evolve through acts of radical reciprocity, sharing drafts with fellow ghostwriters whose silence masks complicity, setting boundaries that protect both career and conscience, and defending her authorship against gatekeepers who mistake humility for absence. Supporting characters add vital texture, editors whose loyalty reflects institutional bias, agents whose pragmatism masks moral compromise, even the manuscripts themselves, rendered as living archives whose margins hold confessions official publications tried to erase. Every interaction reinforces the novel's core truth. In industries built on extraction, claiming credit is insurgency, and presence is the only true legacy. Even the literary mechanics serve thematic depth, with revision mirroring emotional reclamation and attribution becoming metaphor for embodied sovereignty. For audiobook listeners, this production is an immersive sensory descent into intellectual dread. The narrator embodies Alara and Julian with remarkable distinction. Alara's voice carries restrained precision laced with dawning defiance, while Julian's resonant timbre trembles with performative warmth beneath calculated emptiness, making their dynamic palpable even in stillness. Sound design enhances atmosphere without overwhelming intimacy. Distant typewriter keys marking creative rhythm, rain against penthouse windows during vulnerable confessions, the hushed rustle of contract pages syncing with breath during moments of rapture, all anchor systemic stakes in tangible reality. Pacing mirrors the cadence of literary suspense, deliberate during research and reflection, then surging with urgency as external deadlines collide with internal reckoning. Whether you're commuting through urban landscapes or sitting in twilight solitude, the audiobook creates a portable study where isolation feels absolute and voice feels lifeline. It's storytelling as embodied reclamation, transforming passive listening into active participation in a journey where justice isn't about revenge, but about restoration. Ultimately, The Ghostwriter redefines publishing suspense by centering female epistemology within creative frameworks. It satisfies genre cravings for intricate plotting and satisfying reveals while delivering substantive commentary on intellectual property, masculine entitlement, and the radical act of trusting your own mind when systems are designed to obscure it. No prior series knowledge is needed. It stands confidently as a complete emotional odyssey. If you've ever wondered whether art can survive appropriation, or if true strength requires speaking when silence is safer, this audiobook will affirm that sometimes the most powerful sentence is simply signing your own name. Press play, pick up the pen, and prepare to believe that even in landscapes shaped by erasure, voices still find ways to return. Your next favorite thriller isn't waiting in fictional villains, it's waiting in the brave, trembling choice to claim what was always yours.